You're listening to this podcast, so I know you love audio, but research says there's a difference in how you learn when you read a book versus listening to the audiobook. You'll definitely want to hear this if you're an audiobook aficionado. Now, this comes from a 2010 study where 48 students either read or listened to an article about child psychology. Although the students spent the same amount of time with their material and did about the same number of distracting activities while they absorbed the information, they scored very differently on a 10-item quiz later on. On average, the readers scored 81%, whereas the listeners scored 59%. That is a 22 points difference that takes you from a B- to an F, so that's not small potatoes. The learning disparity probably comes from two factors. First, most of us read more slowly than we listen, especially when you factor in pausing and rereading. And when you're trying to absorb new information, slower tends to be better. Second, books offer visual cues that help our brains organize and understand new information. Things like chapter breaks, subheadings, and lists help us make sense of the material and understand how it fits together. You lose all of that when you go the audio route. The bottom line is simple. Don't feel guilty about passing your commute with an audiobook, but be aware of audio's limitations when it comes to studying, and seriously consider opting for good old-fashioned reading instead, especially if you got a test coming up.